Do 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 da 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 do da do da do da down do
I've seen it. I've read some of it, and yeah, I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it.
President Donald Trump dismissing the findings of a U.S. climate change report put out by his own White House. So what are you supposed to believe when the leader of the free world has his own version of truth? And why does truth matter so much?
The truth will set us free, but first it's going to piss you off.
Today we're on a search for truth about truth. We will hear from Senator Murray Sinclair, speaking there, on the uncomfortable realities of truth. From a Canadian researcher at the crossroads of technology and deception.
That Canada Customs experience was really important for me. All of my beliefs about deception were sort of proven to be wrong.
We'll get perspectives from a philosopher, a psychologist, and the journalist behind Gaslit Nation. We're devoting our entire program today to the undermining of reality and truth and its consequences for society. We want insights into how we got here and where this is leading. So hang on to your truthy meters. I'm Anna Maria Tremonti. This is a special edition of The Current on Truth. So you see that what's running on the All News channel comes out of there. What?
Okay, Anna Maria Tremonti, the voice for the man, a woman who is the voice for the man. And I'm going to break down what I will attempt to do in my random and spontaneous insights from the studio. This was a report called, it's every morning, The Current on CBC. It's a radio program with a woman called Anna Maria Tremonti. And now truth is starting to become a factor. Oh, geez, you know, what is truth? Let's figure this one out. It's like whoever has the biggest club quite often is truth. Truth is relegated to those who have the biggest club, who pummel you into submission with their position. And I would say this is not a news program. This is an opinion program, but it's propagated as news. They are so, what is that? That feeling of independence and a third party removed from stuff. But this was loaded. This was loaded with opinions and propaganda that is going to be propagated as truth. I'm going to try and break down the fact. I cannot stand truth and truthers. Truth and truthers suck. Like I've always said, truth is a moving target from beginning to end. And I'm going to break down, but I'll play a few clips. I'll set up a few clips and listen to what these charlatans, especially this first academic, talking about what it means to be truthful. Like, he can't understand why people are still considering the fact that the earth may not be a ball, or that people are still refusing to have their children vaccinated. Oh my God, vaccination. Oh, how can you do this? The truth is out there. So I'm just going to pause for a second and set this clip up. Okay, I think I should play this next clip. Anna Maria sets up her own propagation, her own opinions coming out of, what is this? Listen to her.
We're starting this special on truth here in the nerve center of sorts, the CBC's national newsroom in Toronto. This is like a giant newsroom. It's got every radio hourly, every television hourly.
Wow.
The gathering of everything is here.
Yeah.
I'm here with James.
The gathering of everything is here, which makes it truth. I suppose facts might actually come into the idea of truth, that if you have a fact, but it gets a little nebulous. Once you have a fact, who's reporting the fact? What is the intent behind reporting certain facts? What is it that, like I say, intent actually becomes very crucial in a person being able to decipher what it is that they're hearing. And of course, the newsroom is like inundated with stuff coming at it, hundreds and thousands of facts being filtered through this newsroom that she's part of disseminating the truth. But as you will find, it is really quite nebulous, the whole notion. However, the more you pound your chest with your truth, the more likely you are of maybe having people believe you. And belief, as you will hear, is very instrumental in understanding truth. Let me set up the next clip. All right, she's going to invoke now or interview an academic who is going to enlighten us as to the nature of what it is that may be considered truth. I thought truth was universal. You know, in people's minds, truth is universal. Let's have a listen here.
The gathering of everything is here.
Newsroom. The
I'm
newsroom.
here with James Alcock, a professor of psychology
James
from
Alcock.
York University, and we're standing in front of a wall full of TV screens, raw footage.
A professor of psychology. Interesting. Truth comes out of a professor of psychology. Somebody who is very, it must be very amorphous, his notion of truth as a psychology professor. Hold on. Let's just listen a bit more.
From around the world being beamed inside.
No, I'm just impressed with the flood of news and how important it is to filter it out so that the viewer like me can see something that makes sense rather than 50 different screens with 50 different stories.
It is the stories that come out of this newsroom and others like it that form the basis of what most of us take as the truth in the world. So what does James Alcock think is actually happening?
Alcock? You see, I'm sorry, but I find this hilarious too. Alcock, up yours. Alcock, come on, give me a break. What kind of a name is this? What kind of a... Okay, go ahead, Alcock.
To the truth in this process.
Well, that's a tough question. I would like to think that truth is being preserved, but the problem is that truth can be distorted either through deliberate lies, which I doubt occur here, or reflection. So in a way, then you have to trust the people doing the reporting. We have to trust the people doing the sorting out of clips, and the whole chain depends on trust and confidence in the integrity and the skills of the journalist.
Trust and integrity of the Ministry of Propagation of Thoughts and Ideas and Opinions. News is a misnomer, it's opinion. The local opinion is now about to occur, and here's Alcock going to definitively tell us, and the reason I'm picking on him is you'll see in a minute how he ridicules and undermines honest, and here's the word, honest investigation, because it ultimately, as he admits, comes down to personal experience, the only thing we can truly accept as being truthful, and then even the eyes of the perception is everything. One person's observation of something is completely different in the context of their experience and cannot be propagated as truth. It's a very individual, personal definition that we have for truth. It just applies to 7 billion different people differently. And he'll come to this, but he'll ridicule honest investigation. Let's listen a little more.
But that trust he's describing seems to be breaking down in today's world.
Wonder
The
why.
Oxford dictionaries picked the term post-truth to be their word of the year in 2016, the same year Donald Trump was elected president of the United States.
Let me tell you, if Jesus Christ gets down off the cross and told me Trump is with Russia, I would tell him, hold on a second, I need to check with the president if it's true.
Why do you
That's how
believe Donald
confident
Trump
I'm
over
with
everybody else? Why?
I believe in him.
Well, to help us understand why people believe what they do and where the truth fits in, James Alcock and I sat down one floor down from that
Alcock.
newsroom in the current studio. He's the author of a new book called Belief, What It Means to
In
Believe
the
and
Brain.
Why Our Convictions Are So Compelling.
Okay, there you go. Belief. So we're no longer dealing with truth, we're dealing with primarily belief. That you have to have a set of beliefs in order to be able to function within a truth. So no one has what is universal in terms of truth is always thought of as being universal, universal. So this is why I detest truth and truthers. Hold on. Okay, let me recapture this. He's an author of a book based on belief. So it's going to morph now. It's going to bounce back and forth. He's going to make proclamations about what is true, what is not. You'll see. I'm just going to have a couple of more clips of him telling us what a bunch of nutbags we are for our honest investigation of determining the facts. The facts, ma'am. I want the facts. And the facts are not truth, as you will see in a minute. Let's hear him.
In the current studio. He's the author of a new book called Belief, What It
Belief.
Means to Believe and Why Our Convictions Are So Compelling. These must be interesting times for someone who studies belief.
Well, they're very interesting because people are willing to believe the most egregious nonsense and hold that belief with considerable conviction. And so it's quite interesting to psychologists as to how that develops, how that comes about, and how they sustain it.
Well,
How about propaganda? Something that you're given from the time you're able to perceive as a child. You're in the midst of propaganda from day one. You don't have a chance for honest investigation. You're going to be pummeled if you step out of line with any ideas and thoughts you might have, which is, you know, the idea of art as a painter. I attach myself to the idea. It's very important to have an honest investigation, meaning of myself primarily, to see what it is that makes me me. In other words, if there is ever going to be a truth, look at artists. Serious artists. I'm talking about good artists who are really honest with themselves about what it is that they perceive. That's the closest I think you're going to get to a truth. But he's a professor of belief, not truth. It is propagated as truth. He's going to define what it means to have truth. Let's listen a little bit more.
let's define our terms here. How would you describe belief?
Well, belief is a representation of what we take to be reality. So we believe that ice is cold. We believe that water is wet. We believe that if you push the up button for an elevator will come. If you press number 6, it will deliver you to the 6th floor. So belief is an internal description of what we take to be real. Now, beliefs aren't all born equal. So some beliefs are more important than others. Some beliefs are held with greater conviction than others. So, for example, if I were to say, what's the capital of Switzerland? And someone was to say it's Geneva, that's not right, it's actually Bern. I could show that person quickly that it really is Bern, and they would change that belief instantly, even though they perhaps held it with great conviction earlier on. However, if I was to take another example, someone who believes in God, and to challenge that belief, there'd probably be very little chance that I could budge the person at all. And similarly, if you take someone who's really identified with Donald Trump, it becomes so important psychologically to maintain the belief that he is a good person, that he's a smart person, and that he's going to do good for the country. So that even if there are discrepancies between what seems to be real and what he says, you either go with him, accept the lie, or you find some way out of it.
You go with him, accept the lie. So he is basically already indicted the Trump. I'm not a fan of Trump, but he's as a psychologist, as an independent, he is separated from us by intense knowledge and study, and he's already convicted Trump of being a liar. Probably true, but no more or less a liar than he is, because he's hiding behind his academic credentials to be able to express a definitive notion of truth. What a charlatan. This is the propagation again. This program is just so loaded with propagation for the man. But I think this is important to understand because it's becoming more and more of an issue. Like I said, I detest truth and truthers because they're basically propagating, like he said. What was it that he said? That you're trying to convince somebody of something. So truth is basically a tool to convince somebody of something that you would like them to believe. So that's all he's saying. This is his entire academic career in a nutshell. Truth is basically to try and convince somebody of something that you want them to believe.
Things that are verifiably false.
Well, it's because they don't trust the source of the falsification.
Good point. Why should we trust the pharmaceuticals who have a dog in the fight to make billions and trillions of dollars? Why should we trust anyone like that? Someone who has a dog in the fight to propagate their own vision of the world.
Right, and so at one extreme you have religion, which is impossible to test anyway. But with other things...
Okay, he gets off the hook on religion. Well, give it a shot. Give it a shot. You're an academic. You can discredit religions because you're so smart. How about discrediting all those brilliant religions that have come in the past? I'm no big fan of religion because I think they propagate the same kind of truth that he is propagating. But let's listen to his little explanation. I just thought I'd put this in because they're so insidious. These people are so insidious, that the radio broadcasters of truth, the noose, the north, east, south, and west bunch that give their opinions.
Are verifiable. we're really adept at defending beliefs that are important to us, even in the face of contrary evidence. So take something, for example, this is, I find very concerning.
Oh.
There are a lot of people around the world who are refusing to give their children the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, rubella, because they believe it causes autism.
Proven.
And it's very clear this belief is based on fraudulent science. The paper that made this connection has been withdrawn.
The doctor who did it lost.
The doctor who did it was Andrew Wakefield, and he has definitively proven a connection. So here you go. The propagation. Let me just finish this.
His license.
Exactly.
He lost his
But
license.
there's still
Yeah, that makes you truthful because somebody has lost his license because you have faith. Faith, in other words. You have belief in a system that actually, what I say, isn't working. You look around, it's not working. It's coming apart at the seams from an economic, science, spiritual, psychic level. The world we live in is so dysfunctional for these people to actually propagate any kind of relationship they feel is solid and real to a world that's totally dysfunctional. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you're going to have arguments with me about, hey, why not let the academics, have their say? Let them. They have studied for so long. All these people, they're so smart. Okay, I'm going to go to a video now for just a brief thing. I'm done here. Okay, you've this cock has said whatever he has to say. Hello, YouTube friends. The clip, the screen capture of this program, The Current, by Anna Maria. You got to say Anna Maria. It's kind of a difficult name to say over. Anna Maria, Anna Maria, Anna Maria, Anna Maria, Anna Maria. She likes to be called Anna Maria. Well, okay, fine. I guess that's a name, a double name. Billy Bob, Billy Bob, Billy Bob. It's easier to say Billy Bob than Anna Maria, Anna Maria. Pick an easier name, Anna Maria. A voice for the man. As I went through the commentary I made, here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to say to the truth. That truther community. This is what I would like to see. For myself, this is what I would like to see. I would like to see passion, conviction, and honesty based on conscience. It's the closest thing we're going to get to truth. And I'll tell you why it is the closest thing we're going to get to truth, in the sense that all truth is manipulated. Like I say, the person with the biggest club is in history has always ended up with the truth. So if you have the biggest club, you're going to have the truth. But I'm not interested in what kind of a barbarian is running the show. I'm interested in something that connects me to a reality that has meaning to me. And the idea of objectivity as opposed to subjectivity, which you saw, this academic is totally subjective. He even admits to belief being the fundamental notion of truth. So you cannot have any definitive, absolute version of what it is he is attempting, this Alcock, whatever his name was. I thought that was funny too. Come on, people, please. We're being made fun of all the time by these people. And I mean, it must be his name. I'm not saying it's not his name, but the fact he's propagated on a major network the way this guy was, they didn't choose Bill Robinson. They chose the guy with a name and cock in it. So the cocks rule the place. This is the message I get. The cocks. It's not the vaginas, it's the cocks that rule the place. Again, not that cocks cannot have decent ideas or propose something to me like, I'm a cock, so I should be called Ackercock. Actually, a friend of mine has said that my name should really be Acker Hombre. And considering, I don't know, do you get it? Acker Hombre with an H in the front. It's H-A-C-K-E-R-M-A, hombre. So what I just want to finish off after this little clip, it's my problem with the truthers out there, all these people that take themselves so seriously. All I'm saying about myself is I have conviction, and I'm basing my convictions on conscience, something that is has a place in all of us. So if I have this sense, first of all, again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to say to you that the honesty that I feel coming from someone, not backed up by 50 years of academic study. I don't give a shit about all your study if you're a charlatan in terms of using your conscience. How can this guy propagate vaccines? How can this actually be a person taking themselves seriously, knowing how controversial and how dangerous that position is? What if he's wrong? What if he's actually wrong? Just ask yourself, what if he's wrong? If you don't take vaccines, like all of humanity in history has never had vaccines until 1940 or whenever it was when they brought this in, we did quite well without it. We did well without it. Now you're going to introduce it. What's going to happen? Well, you have an entire, like my earlier video about sick kids, you're going to have a lot of sick kids if you're going to promote this policy of vaccination. And we got through surviving, as he has suggested. Truth and survival is connected. So we're abdicating truth by going along with his vaccine policy. He says, oh no, I'm impartial about this, but it's proven, it's all proven. The pharmaceuticals are, why would they actually do something that's not good for us? Well, how about thalidomide? How about all the different antidepressants that are causing people to kill themselves? I have people in my own circle that have killed themselves because of the antidepressants that are being prescribed for them. This is proven. All right, so my position, and I know people are going to really dislike this on some level because they're still attached. Many people that listen to me probably even as well have this notion that there is an absolute within this propagation, what is understood to be a reality. What is the reality we live in? It's not what it appears to be, never has, never will. The only thing we can rely on is something. Why I went into this dissertation on what is inner world. What is inner world? The thing that is the stability in the human being is the inner world, not the external world, because you see it's manipulated all the time. And I'm loath even to accept the idea that there is an objective reality. We can agree on certain things, but to postulate, to sort of transpose ourselves into something that creates an absolute has always sunk our ship. It's sinking our ship. The idea of the nuclear criminal syndicate who runs the show. They run the show now, in the sense that they are creating so many toxic elements. Unprecedented in history. The amount of toxicity coming out of all the nuclear plants is unprecedented. It dwarfs the pharmaceuticals. It dwarfs Agent Orange and all those other pricks that are creating chemicals in our environment. The nuclear criminal syndicate, Fukushima, has exploded people. This is our true. This is an absolute truth that you cannot survive the toxicity levels that are being introduced into existence at this point. And you can dance on your pin. I'm not sure how many pins you need in order to justify existence anymore. There are certain things that even within my concept of truth not existing actually are happening. And there are very few. There are very few that I would say the way I'm saying. Obviously, someone will say, yeah, okay, belief. But I'm saying this has in fact occurred. This has happened. We have whatever it is that we can use as objective reality, photographs, explosions. This is not something I was there to see and witness, but this has actually happened. This has happened. It's the way he says, no, it's not Zurich, it's Bern or Geneva. It's Bern is the capital. Yes, Bern, interesting, B-U-R-N. Bern is the capital of Switzerland. The people, the creative country the cuckoo clock makers and chocolate makers that rule the financial world anyway used to have a capital called Burn. All right, yeah, I'm going to end it here. And I'm going to probably do some more, which is related to the idea of inner world. I have a romance with the idea of inner world, not like the romance with the Grim Reaper that is now propagated as reality. Reality, as I understand it, is basically a romance with the Grim Reaper. Let's go down with the ship. Let the ship sink. Like this, I made a painting. Here, I'll let you have a look at it right there. The painting. This is reality. Let the ship go down. Let the ship sink. In fact, I kind of, this is the Columbus vessel idea, and let that ship sink. I see it, but we are in a situation now that is desperate in many, many, many ways. And Fukushima is the jewel in the crown. And the truthers and the truth are not helping resolve any of this. The SGT reports, the Alex Jones types, the Greg Hunters, the litany of people that are propagating their objective truth. All you're doing is observing something and interpreting. So go ahead and interpret. What I'm saying is what I rely on, is a sensibility within myself that identifies the honesty within a person. And they can be wrong. I don't mind people being wrong. But if they're honest, they're going to admit their mistake. This is the nature of honesty. And you're going to get it right more than not if you rely on conscience. What I say, what I propagate, what I talk about, and I'm always referring to Fukushima because it's the biggest challenge we have on our plate. And how we're going to solve this, not by propagating truth and repeating over and over how horrible it is, but actually changing our lives to have an effect on a microcosm that'll begin to stop this insanity about truth and truthers. We have to become honest and deal with ourselves on an inner level that actually filters out into the world. We need to filter this consciousness out into the world. That's what I'm saying. We're never going to change anything unless we change ourselves. And listening to programs like The Current and Anna Maria, the propagator, the voice for the man, it is so obvious. It is so obvious you cannot avoid but understand how it's a propagation of something, even though they come out as like, oh, CNN News and all the usual suspect news propagation, CBC radio in Canada and all the other government agencies that are propagating. Yeah, anyway, we're up against it. That's what I'm saying, but I am not without hope. I have faith in people that are actually acting their conscience and having faith in themselves to do the inner work, because there is so much value in each individual that is completely denied and pummeled from the earliest days on. It's pummeled from the earliest days on. We don't have a chance as children because we're being vaccinated, poisoned, we're getting toxicity levels to such a point that we can't think properly anymore. And these people think they're thinking properly, especially the academics. Like a guy like Jordan Peterson, I even like this guy, but he's on a 100% beef diet. He doesn't eat anything other than beef because of some physical condition. Do you realize how toxic his brain is? Can you imagine being on a 100% beef diet? Jordan Peterson, all the people that love Jordan Peterson, this guy is toxic. His mind process is toxic. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a contribution and he can come up with, this broken clock is right twice a day idea. So, yeah. Follow your conscience. Be honest, people. Be honest. And we'll have a much better chance.